Before she met her future husband, Lara Trump was baking cakes for a living with little interest in politics. But how quickly things can change. From budding pastry chef to Republican Party power broker, Lara's unlikely political ascent has truly been something to see. Lara Trump grew up in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. On an episode of her podcast, The Right View, she revealed that her parents, Linda and Robert Unoska, named her after the character Lara Antipova from the novel and film Dr. Zhivago. Lara developed a love of animals as a child, telling her podcast listeners that her first pet was a pair of parakeets. But what she really wanted was a dog, and she got her wish when her mother learned that indoor birds had been linked to respiratory issues. Once Lara found a new home for the parakeets, she was allowed to adopt a dog from a shelter.
And that's what we did. We got our first dog. I named her Pepper.
Rescuing animals would later become one of her pet causes. As Lara got older, cheerleading became another passion. She told Fox News that she failed to make the junior varsity squad the first year she tried out, but decided to try again after working hard to improve her cheer skills. She recalled, "The next year, I didn't make the JV team, I made the varsity team." After graduating high school, Lara remained in her home state to pursue a higher education. She had difficulty choosing what to major in when she enrolled at North Carolina State University. She said on The Right View,
I thought perhaps I would parlay my love of sports into some sort of a sports medicine route.
However, she decided obtaining a medical degree would require spending too much time in school, so she eventually settled on a communications major. According to Lara's One Model Place portfolio, she worked at Hooters during college, won a few bikini contests, and posed for the men's magazine Stuff a few months before she graduated in 2005. She also participated in Maxim's Hometown Hotties competition. After college, it seems Lara gave up on finding fame as a model. She returned home and put her degree to use by working as an intern at 2 local news stations. However, she took a little vocational detour before her broadcast career hit the big time. After getting some first-hand experience working at news stations, Lara switched gears by moving to New York City to study at the French Culinary Institute. After obtaining her degree in pastry arts, she launched her own confectionery business. Lara sold cakes designed to look like everything from purses to brains. For her brother's birthday one year, she replicated the stars and stripes of Peter Fonda's Easy Rider helmet in a cake. On her podcast, Lara said that disgraced Food Network star Paula Deen is one of her idols, and revealed that she'd love to host her own cooking show someday. However, when she landed her first big television gig, she wasn't whipping up decadent desserts, she was booking interviews for Inside Edition. One of the weirdest things about Lara and Eric Trump's marriage is the story of how they met. When she was out one night in New York, Lara noticed the Trump heir because he was taller than her.
Being probably the 2 tallest people in the room was really helpful.
Lara is 5'11", so it's a rarity for her to meet a guy who still has a few inches on her when she's wearing heels. The two started chatting, and Lara mentioned she was in culinary school. That's when Eric put his hands on her waist and dropped a pickup line that possibly would have earned him a drink in the face if he'd used it on a different woman. Lara recalled on The Right View, he was like, "I bet all of your cooking tastes like garbage because it doesn't seem like you've been eating any of it." Eric's rather rude assumption left a lasting impression on Lara, who told She Rises Studios that she hadn't recognized the guy she was talking to as a Trump son. Lara was nervous about meeting Eric's parents for the first time when she attended the US Open with the Trump clan, but Donald Trump used a chili dessert as an icebreaker. Lara recalled to Star News Online, "There was no grilling, not a ton of questions, just nice hellos and ice cream." While his ice cream offering to his daughter-in-law seemed to suggest otherwise, Donald Trump's relationship with Lara was reportedly frosty at first. On the Political Beatdown podcast, Donald's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, explained that it took Donald a long time to warm to Lara because he wanted Eric to marry another woman. Donald's desired daughter-in-law also happened to be one of his Trump Organization employees. But after 5 years of dating, Eric defied his father's wishes and put a ring on Lara's finger. When Lara married Eric at his father's Mar-a-Lago club in 2014, her reception outfit included 2 additional unwanted accessories, casts on both wrists. A few weeks before she walked down the aisle, Lara suffered an unfortunate horseback riding accident. She told People, "My wedding planner and my designer came up with some fabulously bedazzled gloves to try and blend these casts." When Donald Trump launched his first presidential campaign in 2015, Lara worked at Inside Edition as an associate producer. On The Right View, she said that one of her most memorable experiences working for the news magazine was shooting a story about Lake Superior's ice caves. She had to stand on the frozen lake and recalled being told,
You fall through the ice, by the time someone comes to rescue you, you'll already be dead.
Lara also mentioned the incident that partially informed her decision to step away from the show to focus on helping her father-in-law with his presidential campaign. She recalled,
I became a story while I worked there when someone sent us an envelope full of white powder.
According to the New York Times, Donald used to say that he would be unable to pick Lara out of a lineup. However, according to Lara, a conversation with Donald about her home state made him realize that she could be useful to him. Lara recalled to The Telegraph, in only the way that Donald Trump can, he said, "You know what? I want to put you in charge of winning North Carolina." Donald won the state when he was elected president in 2016, and Lara has kept her fortunes tied to her father-in-law ever since. In September 2017, Lara and Eric Trump welcomed their first child, Eric Luke Trump. That same year, Lara embarked on a mission to help her father-in-law combat the so-called fake news he was always railing against.
You are fake news.
She became a senior consultant for Donald's digital vendor and began producing and appearing in videos that his campaign shared on social media. Some of these real news updates resembled actual news reports, but the Daily Beast deemed them quasi-propaganda. They were filled with effusive praise for Donald. Lara says in one video,
This is a president who is putting America before himself. I'm so proud of that.
An insider told the Daily Beast that Lara was the architect of the ploy to make it look like Donald was getting positive press coverage. The source added that Lara had drawn from her experience as an Inside Edition producer when working on the campaign ads disguised as news. Lara didn't let her second pregnancy slow her down. When Queen Elizabeth II extended an invitation to then-President Trump for a state visit in 2019, he brought his extended family with him to Buckingham Palace, including his unborn granddaughter. While speaking about her trip to London, Lara told Hello, "Knowing that one day I'll tell this baby about the adventure overseas and all that happened while in my belly made everything all the more meaningful." She also revealed that the Queen was the royal she was most excited to meet. Back stateside, Lara actively campaigned for her father-in-law. When she was 8 months into her pregnancy, she headed to Pennsylvania to speak at a Women for Trump event. According to the Washington Post, she told the crowd that Donald had sacrificed his life of leisure for their sake. In August of 2019, Lara was finally forced to take a break from the campaign trail when she went into labor. Her daughter, Carolina, was born on August 19th. On her podcast, Lara said that her daughter is named after her home state.
I've heard of Carolines. I've heard of Carolinas. I have never met a Carolina.
Lara's tireless campaigning for her father-in-law failed to get him across the finish line during the 2020 election. After Trump's loss, Lara and her family decided to move closer to Donald's new home base in the Sunshine State. Their $3.2 million four-bedroom home was located in the same Jupiter, Florida community as the Trump National Golf Club. Lara also found a new job in 2021. She parlayed her experience advocating for Donald into a gig as a Fox News contributor. During her first paid appearance on the network, she joked,
I sort of feel like I've been an unofficial member of the team for so long.
But in December 2022, Lara abruptly exited Fox News. At the time, Donald had decided to run for president again and needed her assistance. Unfortunately for Lara, Fox News wasn't going to give her a paycheck for turning her segments into free campaign ads. A source told The Washington Post that it was her involvement with Donald's campaign that earned her a pink slip. Lara's years of being a media surrogate for Donald Trump culminated in the former president giving her his full-throated endorsement for the role of Republican National Committee co-chair in 2024. Lara's subsequent takeover of the RNC was controversial because it seemed like a blatant conflict of interest. She also vowed to prioritize her father-in-law's re-election to a degree that would potentially be detrimental to down-ticket Republican candidates. According to Bloomberg, Lara told a crowd of Trump supporters in South Carolina, "We need to make sure that every penny of every dollar donated to the RNC is going to Donald Trump's campaign." One of Donald's Republican rivals took issue with the Trumps running the party like a family business. Nikki Haley told a crowd of her supporters,
"The RNC is going to be his legal slush fund."
Lara had ruffled some feathers by saying that Republican voters would support the RNC's funds being used to pay Trump's legal bills, according to the AP. She later assured NBC News this was not something the committee was prioritizing. When the estate of late rock icon Tom Petty demanded that the Trump campaign stop playing the singer's music at its political events in 2020, it seemed that Lara took this as a personal challenge. So in 2023, she released a cover of Petty's 1989 song, I Won't Back Down. She then appeared on Hannity and accused streaming platforms of shadow banning her song. She also shared her theory about why she couldn't get it on the radio, telling the Fox News host,
They wouldn't put my song on the radio because it was too political. And I think it's time we as conservatives start fighting back.
In March 2024, she released an original song, Anything is Possible. It was no chart topper, but it aptly described her unlikely political ascension. However, it remains to be seen whether that ascent will continue.